Okay, so I'm live, and there's no one here to see this because I didn't send out an advance warning I was doing this because I wasn't quite organized, in all honesty, and I wasn't sure if and when I do it. But I had more or less promised to do these maybe daily live check-ins as we all get used to. Hey, we're not able. It's a fucking ant on my laptop screen. Weirdly annoying. Yep, there you go. That's possible AIDSy joining. There we go. Hey, Luke. Yep, it's check-in time. Yes, I'm going to try and get more organized now. Big bad ad. Shits is getting real. And hey there, Keiju and Justin as well. Shit's getting very real in the world right now. So I want to do these occasional, if not daily, check-ins. See how we're all doing, because I think it's going to get weirder and weirder. It's funny, like, okay, tomorrow's Monday. I already know because I've been working from home since Wednesday last week, which is interesting because based on what the state government has been saying, I think if I wasn't already voluntarily working from home, I would have got a directive in the next day or two to work from home. So it's just slightly ahead of the curve, like 1 week ahead of being told to work at home. But I did notice yesterday and today, the weekend, feeling slightly weird, like should I be doing something on my work computer? And it's like, no, it's the weekend. And just because, I'm in the space where I was doing work computer. So I think the mentioned, yes, Glee, I am on YouTube as well. I'm streaming to both the Facebook and the YouTube. So the chat's a bit more lively on YouTube as well. Definitely recommend. Hey, Anthony, how you doing? But yes, so it's already a bit weird. Alex, I agree with you. Nothing seems real. It's very strange. Hey, Irene, it's Mello in Estonia. I am glad to hear that. It's a bit weird and surreal in Australia. And hey, Safa, how you doing? I was having conversations with Mrs. Angry. This still feels very strange. Hey, AK, how's it going? I don't know about anyone else, but because actual confirmed numbers are still comparatively low, so I think it's still possible to fool yourself that, hey, maybe we could contain this. Those numbers aren't that large. It's just that they're going up exponentially. And you go from being under control to not being under control like that. And we're probably still 2 weeks away from being absolutely unable to deny that everything is out of control. But I don't see any way of avoiding this. It's weird. So for the Chinese Communist Party getting sued by a Californian, yeah, I saw something about that lawsuit, and I don't know anything about law, but it does seem dumb as fuck to me. Jewel, what's that? Last 48 hours. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've, for the last couple of weeks, it was obvious, like super, super obvious. Like 2+ weeks ago, shit's going to hit the fan and nothing we can do to stop it. Even though 2 weeks ago, most places in the world didn't show really desperate signs, but it was just so obvious the way everything was going. Yeah, and it's just accelerated. I remember there's a Facebook forum for people who work in hospitality that I'm a member of, and it was about 10 days ago. Someone said, "Oh, what's going to happen?" And I said, "Well, there's going to be no casual employment for a minimum of 6 months in the hospitality industry." And then I had a couple people go, "Oh, that's over the top. And I went, yeah, I'll get back to me in 2 weeks, man, see what happens. And here we are. I think it's less than 10 days later. It's probably a bit rude to gloat. I know I keep lipping my lips. My tongue. God, now I'm going to get psychosomatic. I think maybe I should make myself a beverage. Ali, you've got a US friend mailing you toilet paper. We have toilet paper. It's manufactured locally. The panic buying's got to flatten out at some point. It's ridiculous. Justin, okay, I need to point out, you think this came from an unsanitary market in China. That's actually racist bullshit, okay? It's not that simple. It's not cut and dried. You can certainly point to, in the early days of the outbreak, the Chinese Communist Party suppressed the news of what was happening and grossly understated the seriousness of the problem to the rest of the world, and that's unquestionably bad. But you need to dump this shit about people eating bats and the markets and fucking... It's just this stereotype fucking racist bullshit about... And you get this, and definitely not saying you in this, Justin, but you look at the Republicans in America, they just basically call China uncivilized, and it's just really sick colonialist bullshit. Luke, Trump isn't helping. Trump's active. Okay, I keep licking my lips, and I left my glass out in the next room, so I'm going to leave you for 1 minute, get my glass, and then I think I'll just make myself a lemonade and fruity juice. So hang on 1 second. Where's the door handle? Why can't I find the door handle? Okay, I'm back. Well, kind of back. I got to rinse my glass out, and I'll keep talking to you. Need some ice. Like a big old block of ice in here, because that's the way. I like it. Okay. Ice, baby. Okay. What just do I have in here? This one. I'm gonna do this one, and some lemonade. Dilute the juice a bit. Okay, and my lemonade. Alrighty, that's me. Will the Chinese Communist Party ever be overthrown? Well, I don't know. Nothing lasts forever, but they've got a pretty goddamn grip on power at the moment, and they're pretty clever with how they maintain it. Oh, Julie, you're absolutely right. That gross racism that Trump and the Republicans are pushing, insisting on repeatedly saying Chinese virus, and to the point that you've now got people saying that it was a deliberate, concerted effort by China, the sole purpose of which was overthrowing Trump. It's sick and fucking dangerous. All right, I'm gonna drink to chill. Yeah, that's an interesting point, Safra. If the USSR didn't collapse, she wouldn't have become an Australian citizen. That was something that was difficult to predict ahead of time as well. The collapse of the USSR, being a child of the Cold War, grew up in the Cold War. The 80s in particular seemed quite intense, although there were definitely periods of the 60s that were more intense. Before my time. Oh, yeah, that's good. We may or may not get an AD. I don't know how long I'm going to be on here tonight, but we'll see what happens. Hey, Sam, how are you? But yes, nothing lasts forever in this world. it's very, I think it's a common thing with humans. My limited reading of history backs this up. Humans tend to conceive of the world as they see it now is some unchanging constant, and history just doesn't bear that out. People say, oh, could the US ever have another civil war and possibly split up? Well, from an historical perspective, the US is quite overdue for a civil war, for an entity that has so many competing sort of, what's the right way to put it, views? It's quite surprising it hasn't sort of come apart at this one. I am slightly distracted because I'm trying to find a picture to show you about. We're joking about the Dan Murphy's panic, and it was on my phone, but I think I can bring. I put it on Facebook. I think I can bring it up if I bring up Facebook. Where's my feed on Facebook? One comment, where is it? Here it is. Here it is. This is a lot of fun. People wondering what my supply situation is. Oh, wait a sec, that didn't work. Okay, I got to share a screen with you. Chrome tab, that's what I want from my Facebook. So yes, this is my, am I panicking at Dan Murphy's? No, that's my supply at the moment. So I can probably survive a little while. Yeah, apparently people did, with the news that the pubs are going to be closed, people did go somewhat wild at Dan Murphy's. Sam, I'm not surprised if you're not great. Is this general anxiousness about the situation we're all facing? Something specific? Because it's all pretty messed up. Kaiju, you've only recently learned cyclists are jerks. Yeah, if Aidsy was here, he would go absolutely to town, because there's someone with a disability who can't move that quickly. The number of times he's been run down or nearly run down by cyclists makes him very poorly disposed towards cyclists. So me, I just think everyone can be jerks. Pedestrians can be jerks. Cyclists can be jerks. Car drivers can be jerks. Truck drivers can be jerks. They can all be jerks to one another. There is nobody who can fairly point at any one group and say they're the problem, because everyone does jerk things. Yes, Carl, we live in interesting times. I think the first time I saw this phrase, it was in one of the Discworld books, for any nerds out there who like their humorous fantasy stuff. Terry Pratchett's Discworld books, you'd be familiar with them. There was one of the books is actually called Interesting Times, and he uses the phrasing that there's a proverb in one region in our world. It's reputed to be China, and he has an equivalent to China in the Discworld, and it's there is a saying that goes, "May you live in interesting times," and nobody's quite sure if that's a blessing or a curse. Yeah. Just you think the studies will show people who don't get infected were introverts all along? The rest of us just have to act like introverts now. And good evening to you, David. Sam, you don't know if you're going to work tomorrow. Well, it is a fraught thing. The whole work thing is fraught for a lot of people. I mean, I'm working from home, and at the moment it feels secure, but it could change at any moment. Hey, Adele, how are you? So, yeah, I'm trying real hard not to be anxious, basically, because there's a lot of incredibly valid reasons to be introverted, anxious. Got thrown at David saying, you're in introvert heaven, love being alone. Fair enough. Oh, gosh, Ali. Oh, I could just imagine being in a shed. Oh, no, he's got the Rona. No, sneezing's not a sign. I just, I have an overactive sneeze reflex. I don't know, something just tickled my nose. But I have what they call photic sneeze reflex. I'm going to sneeze again. Looking at a bright, like the sun, looking at the sun will make me sneeze. Angus, you're going to have to go tomorrow, be told to go back home. Yeah, it's all a bit weird. And yes, anxiousness and being exhausted by it are normal. As what I said, we're going to understand a couple of maths concepts better. A lot of people have a very poor understanding of some maths concepts like exponential growth. And why are we upset? It only just hit 1,000 because it was only 500 a couple of days ago, and it's doubled. And we're now in the phase of Australia where confirmed cases seem to be doubling twice a week, which gets out of control really quickly. For those who can't do math, like it's up to 1,200 and some now. And the current pattern, if we can't find a way to slow it down, halfway through the week, that'll be 2,500. At the end of the week, that'll be 5,000. Then halfway through the next week, 10,000. End of that week, 20,000. Then halfway is 40,000. End of the week, 80,000. And so we're basically 4 weeks away, probably maximum, from having hundreds of thousands of cases in Australia, which is not good. Luke, you reckon people are going to start stealing stuff from houses? That's a bit of a scary concept. Lawlessness. Very hard to steal stuff when people are home, though, and everyone's going to be home. Ramshark, watching is baked. That seems like a good idea, honestly, my friend. Dottie, you said, yeah, that thing about accessing your super is not necessarily a good idea either. The increase in benefits for people who end up unemployed is good. Toriana, yes, idiots won't stay home. The Bondi Beach thing is absolutely ridiculous. Yes, Catherine, you say it becomes home invasion. Aggravated burglary, as the coppers call it. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen. I just don't know. Phil, how you doing? AIDSy might join us. Probably less likely than more likely, but he might join us. Technical problems. Oh yes, Dottie. It's kind of funny. Like I know some fucking bootlicker saying on some forum, like, "Oh, you shouldn't have to pay rent, or this is the what if the banks collapse? Then you'll be in trouble." Like, yeah, me being homeless is a far less serious problem than the banks having a few billion less profit this year. Fuck that. Yes, Kirk, you do raise a point. The Western countries are getting an increased infection rate, even compared to Hubei province, and haven't shut down quickly enough. And we're also not totalitarian countries who can't shut down with the totality that China did. Hey, Raiders, how's it going? Oh, dude, every year, NHL, the hockey season, everything's cancelled. All the big sport things, every event, everything's cancelled. What's in the bottom of my glass? It's a slice of lime that I have in my drink. I just saw the bottom of my glass and it looked weird. Yes, it is true, Kaiju, that money is in fact made up. Jules suggested lockdown beverage. Something fruity, honestly. You want some vitamins. Yeah, Big Bad Ads, the NRL doing that defiant, we're not shutting down until they say we have to shut down. We'll see what the public thinks to that, how people react. Devin Blumenstein, how are you, my friend? Yes, we'll see how long the NRA. Now that's a whole different thing. The NRA are going to do in the US. The NRL in Australia, see how long they hold out, what public opinion will do to them. Okay, this is like, I am noticing, I said I'd do these more often because I felt like we'd kind of need it. And there's a lot more people in here than normal. So it seems like we all just want to chat, which is great. A good old chat. It's probably going to be a while before we can stop chatting about coronavirus because it's fucking freaked up. But yeah, and it's hard to think of anything else to talk about. It's really Catherine, no, not going stir crazy yet. I mean, this is why I was posting on social media stuff that was absolutely true. And Young Ms. Angry was making fun of me for going crazy on the first day of working from home. But I swear to God, this huge fucking blowfly was just following me room to room. It's like, you know, one of those really noisy ones. And then it would bounce off walls and go, france, france, france. And it would follow me for different rooms. And then the cat did this weird thing. She was making this noise that was unlike her normal noise. I thought, what? It sounds just right. And she's got this teeny tiny half-dead baby mouse that she's caught, but it's not dead, but it's mostly dead. And it's like she's going, rah, what do I do now? Rah. And I go, oh, you fucking weirdo. So I got it in a plastic bag and threw it in the bin. I put it out of Smizzera. I smashed it against a wall, a brick wall outside to kill it so it didn't fucking linger. Alexa, you have something to talk about. I would like to hear that, my friend. I'm not surprised the Centrelink website crashed. Yeah. Oh, favorite item in Apocalypse Pantry. I tell you what we did tonight. Young was angry. Made a really nice spaghetti bolognese. So we used our precious, rarer than gold beef mince, which is fucking hard to get at the moment. Actually, I think independent butchers tend to have it's much more expensive, but that's where we got it from, a local independent butcher. We used our rarer than gold beef mince and delved into our precious reserves of spaghetti pasta. And so we dined like billionaires tonight. We had the beef mince and the spaghetti. The shelves are empty of both, but we cared not, for we are the decadent ones. Yes. So the idea of spaghetti bolognese sounding exotic is so weird. Ramp, none of us really fucking knew something like this was going to come up. Although we kind of did, but it's still very unreal. But yeah. Okay. Alexa is going to save us all. I like to hear this. Alexa's found an intriguing angle to think and talk about coronavirus and stay sane. Alexa, do you have a webcam? Do you actually want to come on and talk about your talkie? Nice, Phil. You had carbonara chicken. Vegan and veggie substitutes. Yes, they're still going, Angus. That's a nice one. Catherine, well, we didn't make a huge spaghetti bolognese, just enough to feed for. Okay, Alexa, you have a webcam. You want to come on? I need to message you. We're Facebook friends, aren't we? I can send you a link on Messenger. Let me. No, that's not what I wanted. New massage. Alexa. I don't think we're Facebook friends. Maybe on Twitter. I can DM you on Twitter. Let me bring up Twitter and I will DM you. Going to DM Alexa. Wait, my brain has stopped working. A massage. That's what I got. I don't DM people very often, so I friggin' forget how to do it. There we go. Mr. Alexa. Next. I got to. Okay, I'm about to DM you a link, Alexa. And all you need to do is click on this link, have your webcam on, and you can join me and to tell people your method for staying sane, because I like the sound of it. Brian, how you doing, buddy? Oh, wow, Dottie, you haven't had meat for a week. Tofu and chicken next gone for us. I mean, I've got a fair amount of food in the house. I didn't do the panic buying, but yeah, I've got a fair amount of food in the house. God, Ramchuck, ran out of beer, still got a bit of the green. I hear the pot dispensaries in the US are regarded as critical businesses, which is good. And Luke, you are not wrong. We could have problems with the NBN with everyone working from home or school kids staying home and playing games. Keiko, I haven't had a special lockdown cocktail yet. I did make one last week with all the really strong things I made. Called it the Corona Killer just because there was enough alcohol to bring it down. Justin, can you join by iPad? I'm actually not 100% sure. A subreddit public freakout. Okay. Wait, I think I've got Alexa. Oh, yep, there you are. And Alexa.
Oh, I'm here.
Oh, cool. So, I'm just seeing things saying Sam's got a lot of crochet done, which is good. So, but Alexa, you have a technique for not going crazy.
Oh, firstly, let me kind of get myself comfortable here. Yeah,
okay.
I just jump right in. All right, I'm alive.
Yeah, which is a big plus.
Yeah, this is good. I thought I'm gonna. Yeah, okay, cool. This is my first time actually log on. Yeah. Thanks for having me. All right, let's start. Let's begin.
Yes. So, for those who don't know, I've had Alexa on my channel before, that on an episode of my podcast. We've known each other for a few years. He also works with Brian, who's in the chat. Brian's been in my channel and podcast as well, talking about various things like the open democracy movement. But I brought Alexa on because he said he has a way to keep us sane. So I'm keen to hear this.
All right, I begin. Hello, everyone. So I kind of picked this whole topic up mid-Jan when I came back from Linux conference in the Gold Coast. And I was very interested in I was observing from outside, but then it actually hit Iran a while ago, and I'm from Iran, as we had spoken before. And then I had to become more proactive, and I realized I need to do something, and the whole thing was going very crazy. So this is what I found. I found that there are a lot that can be done, and I found this what I call like innovation for the coronavirus.
Mm-hmm.
And when you think about innovation, all of a sudden, kind of it changes your way of looking at the situation, and every problem that you see, you're seeking basically to understand it more and see how you can solve it. And you find other collaborators and like other engineers in the health sector, public health sectors. It basically becomes a bit fun because now you are seeking information because you feel like you can do something. And that's how I've kind of, that's what I've found personally, keeping sane basically, because I stopped talking. So what do you think? This is what I found.
Looking for areas of innovation. I guess so much is going to change. It is inevitable. There will probably be some quite interesting innovations come out of our experience over the next year. So,
and we need that. If I may actually make this comment, I found something on Silicon Beach was shared the other day. It was a quote from someone famous. And he said the the surviving species is not the most intelligent one, and it's not the most what was the other one? Is the one with the best ability to adapt.
Yes,
basically.
adaptability is more intelligent.
Yeah.
And even Einstein said creativity is more important than intelligence.
It's not. Yes. So that really got me. So the change is happening, like a massive change is happening for everybody, and this is very, very clear. And the adaptation to change, basically, that requires innovation. Mm-hmm. And so this is what has got me very interesting, because there is opportunity for us to minimize the harm and the risk. And so there is opportunity to be doing something, if not for the least, but it is, So, and also as I explore this area more, so it's been like 2-3 weeks that I've become proactive. So my background is tech, and I know capability in tech and also information on web and all that. But I'm also seeing everyone in every position that it's like a large hackathon for humanity.
Okay. Yeah.
Everyone where they are, because they are experiencing this, at the very least, they can be the problem owner, and basically share the challenges that they're experiencing for the innovators. That's extremely helpful on its own, if nothing else. But of course, anyone with whatever background, even a small business, like just sharing the challenges that your small business is facing and finding groups that you can safely share this with would help one way or the other with all of us basically navigating through this problem. Because of that, that's a very interesting time.
Yeah, no, that is interesting, because I mean, even just on the simplest level, like really hard hit by this is everyone in the hospitality trades. Cafes, restaurants, bars will all be shut in 2 days.
Oh yeah. In Australia.
Yeah.
All right.
New South Wales and Victoria are moving to shut them down in the next 2 days.
Right. That's massive.
Yes. And you literally, like with the collapse of the arts and entertainment industry as well, with all
events
being shut down, you're looking at millions of people being unemployed. Those two areas, and tourism. You add in tourism.
We already had it impacted by the bushfire already.
Yeah, that's millions of people who are affected already. And I know some people in the cafe and restaurant and bar trade are really quickly trying to work out, can they do something with takeaways and delivery? And some people are already being quite innovative. They're coming up with, and some people are pooling resources. Like I saw one restaurant who had like a very large, almost industrial scale kitchen, because it was a pretty big restaurant. They said, well, we can't see people in the restaurant anymore, but what we're looking for is partners now. It's like, hey, just be a delivery person now.
Amazing.
Or be part of our crew that actually produces the food for takeaway. So that's people, amazing. Just on practical levels like that, are already working at innovation. So
So that's a pivot, right? So I've been exploring different ways that small business and other businesses can actually kind of adapt to this and not being paralyzed, because it's hit a lot of people. And the other thing is that most people, this is how our brain works. Like it is telling us it's gonna be going away very soon, and because of that, I've seen consultants who've lost their kind of ongoing clients. They're just like hanging out, waiting for the whole thing to be over. No, it's like who moved my cheese kind of story, right?
Yes.
You gotta move on. Like that's gone. Move on to the next thing. And one of the ways is pivoting. Not everyone can do that. The other one is mergers and acquisitions. Sometimes you can't pivot, but what you have is enough for another business to acquire, or joint ventures is another thing. And sometimes just like this is the end of your business, accept that, release the workforce and help them kind of move on to so these are things that we gotta face very big questions, and the ones who are the bravest to face these questions and accept that this is gonna possibly disrupt the whole lifestyle forever, if not that, for a few months, you got to be dealing with it, or be going to be the ones who are leading the industry, or the at least the group that they're influencing, basically. And we need that mentality and that attitude more and more, especially because of like this disruption that you mentioned. I did not know there's going to be a sudden shot for the whole industry as big.
Yeah. Yeah. As I was saying a bit earlier, I was on a forum on Facebook with hospitality workers, and when someone said, maybe 10 days ago, how bad's this going to get? And I said, there will be no casual employment for 6 months at least. And they went, that's not going to happen. And I said, get back to me in 2 weeks. And now, less than 2 weeks later, everything's going to shut down.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. It's amazing that things happen before our eyes somewhere else. We still can't accept that things are possible, you know? When after Italy happened, I was talking to my friend in New York, and then he was like, no, life's fine, like it's overseas and whatever. Sure enough, right? Yeah. 2 weeks later, it was exactly the same situation. So we gotta be more proactive, so that it doesn't happen the way it's happening everywhere. So we can, so that's the way of making sure it doesn't happen, not by not thinking it will happen, but by this way. Actually, it's funny because to make sure it doesn't happen, you have to believe it will happen.
Yes, yeah, and although it is too late now, but I do remember a couple of weeks ago when there were definitely a lot of people saying, it's not going to be that bad. People who knew how bad it was going to be. So we have to take such aggressive action that in 6 months you look back and say, see, nothing happened. Because the only way you'll get to say that is if we do massive preemptive action. And that didn't happen. And we're not going to get to say in 6 months, see, nothing happened. Because it's not going to be good. It's going to be somewhere from not good to extremely bad. We hope to avoid extremely bad. That's just God.
For those, well, I'd like you if you can have a look at the comments, because there were some comments I can't reply in this interface. If you can address that would be good.
Yeah, just call out any comments you see.
Yeah, sure.
You want to talk about. That's what I do.
While you have a look, I suggest everyone in Australia, but even overseas, there is a YouTube channel called Juice Media. They did one on coronavirus recently, but last night they released a conversation with Dr. Norman Swan. I highly recommend everyone to watch that. Not sure, have you watched it yet already?
I've not seen that. For those who don't know, Dr. Norman Swan works with the ABC. He is trained as a medical doctor. I think he's worked in broadcasting for like 40 years. So he's a veteran, and he's been the ABC specialist for coronavirus, and he's scathing on the government. In his opinion, they're not doing enough. They haven't acted quickly enough. And but he's very knowledgeable. He explains things very well, and he's a great resource. So I'll have to look out for that. Because Juice Media is good stuff. Yeah. He
made the point that that's why I just thought of it. He also said, I really, really, really wish in a few months' time people look back and say, this guy was crazy. None of the things he said happened. But what he was saying was the math is so simple that a grade 7 kid can do it. And it's just acting out like that so far. So there was someone asked hackathon with a question mark. I'm not sure if she meant actually she didn't know what a hackathon is. But do you want to explain what a hackathon is? In case
no, that's your area of expertise. I mean, I know what a hackathon is, but it's your area of expertise, and I think you'll give a better explanation.
Well, I'm really passionate about hackathons. So hackathons, basically, it has the word hack for a lot of non-techies, and even people in engineering and some parts of tech. It sounds like having to do with hacking into systems. Not at all. The word hack from hackathons come from life hacks. So when you get something happen, very resourceful. That's where it comes from. It's in a very short period of time when you call out for a larger group of people to come together, normally in one room, and you put out a problem statement or a topic, and they form teams, and intensively over normally a weekend, they get to work on it. And at the end of the weekend, they get to present, every team gets to present what they did. Yeah. And sometimes, like normally the format is like that, there's going to be judges and one or two teams are going to win or something. But the whole idea is basically having a focused time where everything drops, anything that they had, fully present in a short amount of time, and do things. That was the reference to a hackathon.
Yeah.
Just for those who don't know.
Yeah. So yeah, everyone gets together, forms teams, works very intensively to develop things. Yeah.
Yeah. So if we see this as an opportunity for the whole humanity to be a big hackathon, because it's really, really fun and a lot gets done, we got to be careful because it gets very intensive and emotional. So we got to make sure that we don't really. But in this, because this is so collaborative, there's no competition. It's hitting all of us, and we have similar problems. This is what Angry Aussie, it came out with in a conversation with a friend. Yeah. This virus has hit us in a place that is reminding every one of us is the same thing, because you know what I mean? It's a good reminder, because what other problem would have hit us so that the whole humanity starts screaming at the same time? Because every other thing would only affect part of us, you know? Yeah. I don't know, Chinese, Asian, Muslims, this side, that side, malaria, Africa. But this is something that's reminding us that we all the same thing. That's also the other side that's been very kind of eye-opening for me. Yeah,
it's weird because every other, like for the last couple of decades, every other time there's been a significant disease outbreak, whether it was Ebola, a swine flu, SARS, bird flu, and any of these things, and the epidemiologists freaked out a bit, and they always ended up getting contained, and people are going, "What are you worried about? Nothing happened," and they're going, nothing happened because we freaked out and acted really. We're like, we live in dread of the one we don't keep in check, because ever since the 1918 flu, they've been waiting for the next one. Like, it took 100 years. It took 100 years.
Oh, wow. So they've been waiting for one.
Oh, and the fact that we travel so much more and so much more quickly now than in 1918. There are a whole bunch of other variables as well. But yeah, epidemiologists have been freaked out in the modern world.
Wow.
The first pandemic that got out of control, they were paranoid about what would happen. And this looks like the real deal. I don't know if Megaleech saying that SARS was also coronavirus. This was funny because for most, myself included, for most of the public, this is the first time they'd heard the term coronavirus, but that's actually a generic term for flu viruses that have been around for a while. And so then they started calling it novel coronavirus and then went with COVID-19. But so some people have been caught off guard to know that coronavirus has existed for a while. The freakiest thing I saw, and I'm not 100% sure if this is true because I'm not sure what the source was, they're saying that since the 70s, all the flu variations that have been in the wild are all like mutations of the Spanish 1918 flu because of a lab accident in the 70s where something that had been kept contained in a lab was accidentally released and it's gotten to the wild and has been mutating ever since. So the various flu viruses that have been around since the 70s are all the result of this lab accident, which is not a very nice thought.
I'm going to call out two comments.
Yep.
So I wasn't listening to what you're saying. The comments were interesting. I admit that. So the two people mentioned two interesting things amongst all the comments. Sorry if I missed something, but there's this guy called Thomas, Fetcher Thomas. He talks about co-ops in learning, and there's a person called Catherine talks about necessities, the mother of innovation. There's this dispute about whether it's a mother or father, but yes, they're definitely related. And I want to invite, especially the person who talks about innovation, anyone else, connect with me on Twitter. That's my handle, this is my focus right now is full-time, especially as of yesterday that I delivered the deadline, full-time innovation on coronavirus on all fronts, basically. Please connect with me. The second thing about co-ops in learning, cooperatives in learning, I'm guessing you have kids because of the whole homeschooling situation. I know some other people in Europe in particular, and my friend in New York, and these are the people, and of course my friends in Tehran that are dealing with this, and very interesting discussions are happening. I can kind of connect you to those discussions and channels. There are very interesting materials happening that way. I'm not fully across those, but they are happening. I thought I'd just bring up these two topics here.
Yeah, no, that's great. And yes, connecting on the various things is a good thing to do at the moment. As we get less physically connected, it's good to find the virtual connections and being able to share things.
Hey, can we ask everyone to come up with a better name for social distancing? Because it was brought up in a meeting, in a Zoom meeting we had, because it doesn't do the job, because it's we are coming closer to each other on some other ways. It's not socially distancing. It needs a better term. Do you agree?
I get what you're doing, because what we're doing now is social, and we're finding these other ways to be closer in a social sense. It's more about physical.
Virtual connecting. What I'm saying is that when we promote for social distancing, it sounds a bit negative. If we find a better term, we can fully advocate for social distancing without unintentionally implying
negative language.
Yeah, like socially being distanced.
So I'm just looking for something while we're talking.
That's all right. Yeah, Rain is asking if we do know about anything about folding at home. I don't know. Brian, can you make a comment on this? Brian has just volunteered to be my assistant at home. Thank you, Brian.
Good work, Brian.
Yeah. Can you make a comment of folding at home? I don't know what that is.
That was someone mentioned something to do with science. I'm not sure, but yes, I've not heard of it. I don't know what it is.
New group, and he doesn't. Thanks. By the way, to invite me in. I may need to wrap shortly. I'll tell you actually what happened. We did get a car from Car Next Door to drive to the office today, because it wanted to avoid public transport. It was fun to do that. Yeah. Which is going to run out. That's why I have to cut it short. But I'll tell this story very briefly before I go.
Yeah.
Might be fun. Yeah. So Car Next Door, for those who don't know, it's a car sharing platform in Australia, which does implemented an amazing idea of letting people to rent their car when they're not using it. Airbnb for cars.
Okay.
It's cool.
Yeah.
And what happened was I booked this car, and then I started receiving these messages from this guy, because it reveals your number to both parties, the car owner and the person who's booked it. And this guy says, "Hey Alexa, thanks for booking the vehicle. Can you please quickly wipe down the steering wheel, etc. on the vehicle, as I haven't been home all day. Sorry about that." He hadn't come home yet, because what he does, between the bookings, he wipes out the whole interior of the car.
Okay.
And he says there are wipes for your convenience. And then he says, "If you can wait, I will be home in 5 minutes." Then he goes, "Someone booked the vehicle yesterday and returned this." Anyhow, so what this guy does, he makes sure that between two booking, the whole interior of the car, the steering wheel and everything is sanitized. And he leaves sanitizers and wipes in the car.
Okay.
Which I found very, very, it's just amazing. So that was my story. I was really amazed and respecting this guy for doing that.
Yeah, excellent. Oh, so the explanations for folding at home are there. It's a distributed computing thing, like CT at home, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence at home. People run programs on their computers at home. Brian's saying
folding proteins,
doing really complex calculations that could help with things like vaccines. It's basically you're giving your CPU power to a central thing. They're doing distributed computing to do massive amounts of calculation, which is neat. But
it's amazing.
Now we're all going to need our computers and bandwidth because we're all stuck at home. But
Yeah, unless the internet providers open up, which I've heard in some countries they are opening up, kind of giving unlimited for free as much as they can for people who are in home. All right. On that note, I'm gonna kind of sign out.
All right. Excellent. Thanks for dropping in. That was good to have a combo. All right.
I appreciate it. What do I do now? Do you kick me out? Or
I can. You say goodbye, and I think you close.
Thank you, everyone. I see you on Twitter. Those who are interested in talking more on innovation.
Yep. All right. Bye, Alexa. There you go. Alexa's gone. Just close your browser, Alexa. Yeah, he's gone. I mean, he's gone from you guys, but now he's gone from my screen as well. Okay, well, that's cool. I also thought, someone's asking, am I going to make a cocktail of the day? I'm going to make a dessert cocktail because there's actually something I'm trying to use up because I'm worried it's got to be used by date. So I'm going to grab this, and I'm going to grab this, and I'm going to grab this. I wasn't meaning to do this, but I just saw it, so I'm going to do that. Okay, so got to try this. This is something I just got today. It's like my last treating myself before probably won't be going out anymore. Got this from a shop called the Bitters Lab. It specializes in cocktail supplies, and they have some besides things like cocktail shakers and bitters and other flavoring things. They have a limited number of unusual liqueurs and whatnot. This is an Australian-made one. It's a blackberry liqueur. I haven't tasted this neat bottle. Just see what the stopper is. And so it's got a good stopper. Oh, there we go. That was a satisfying noise, wasn't it? Little glass stopper. Oh, it does that. All right. Satisfying noise it makes. I worry about splashing when you do that. Readers, what's the official policy on isolation? The official policy is we should do it as much. Be gauche and have a sip straight from the bottle. Oh, that's really blackberry. Oh, that's really nice. Could have that just on. But that's new. So I'm going to try it mixed in. I'm going to do a dessert. Got this chocolate liqueur. It's actually orange color, pumpkin spice flavored. Get White Girl Wasted. I think there's only a little bit of this left. Yeah. No, I shouldn't have done that. Can I pour it back in? No, I can't. Okay, cool. That's all cool. All right, some chocolate liqueur. See what I mean by making a dessert cocktail. So I was going to use my macadamia nut liqueur, another Australian one, make a banana split because this is a banana liqueur, and the macadamia to simulate nuts on top. But I'm going to do this blackberry one to have like a fruit dessert. Ray is saying isolation doesn't quite make sense. What isolation means is you should not go out unless it's really important. Like you should try and limit your grocery shopping to once a week. At the moment, it's voluntary. It's not enforced. Bobo, have I gone insane yet with the distancing? Always been insane. I'm going to use my ice out of this drink to chill it. So, ice cube, you go in there. Little ice cubes, you go in there. Luke's saying he's announcing more restrictions right now. Fletcher, what's a Charlie Brown? I'm not familiar with that name for a drink. So, that's a satisfying noise, isn't it? Get that happening. And the shaker's getting very cold to the touch. Raiders, you're all normal because you're already an introvert. All right, where's my filter? All right, I've been chilling my special glass for this. Oh, it's there. Thought I had it somewhere here. The glass, I've been chilling for a little bit. My stylish Crystal Head vodka martini glass. See, Fletcher, that's the old thing. Like, you know how Americans always go on about pumpkin spice in their autumn? It's not actually pumpkin flavored. It's the spices that they put in the pumpkin pie. So it's a misleading name. Ooh, it's an interesting chocolate color because of the, so it's an orangey chocolate color as well. Yeah. That's my kind of dessert right there. Very desserty. Rain, this is the most social interactions you've had outside of work. Well, that's why I'm doing it. I'm going to try and do this for at least a little while every night. I think Prime Ministers. Oh, yeah, because they've had all the friggin' premiers in Confab all afternoon and night. Oh, here we go. ABC News. New coronavirus lockdown measures coming into force. The situation is deadly serious. More information is expected tomorrow. Right now, can I leave my home? It's requested that Australians stay at home unless the travel's essential. So don't go on holidays. Basically, he foreshadowed far more draconian measures in coming days. Mrs. Angry pointed out to me she found this article where someone actually sourced where does the term draconian come from. Apparently it was one of the rulers in ancient Greece, Draco, who made all crime punishable by death. So we're not there yet, but who knows? South Korea was going to charge people from that religious cult with murder for infecting people. And I'm not sure, but I feel like South Korea might not be shy about executing people. So, no holidays. Don't go on any long travel. States closing their borders, essentially. So don't go on holidays. Don't do interstate trips. On the other hand, he said going to the shops and going to work and other important tasks are essential and would be allowed. Ooh, it's got to be common sense. Going to school is important while school's still open. Why have people been out and about? Some businesses haven't ignored government advice and increased the threat of the virus to the community. Despite bans on outdoor gatherings above 100 people, outdoor gatherings of more than 500. Indoor 100, outdoor 500. Restrictions on space, one person per 4 square meters. The weekend was marked by reports of busy cafes, bars, and beaches like Bondi. What happened at Bondi Beach yesterday was not okay, Mr. Morrison said. Okay. New South Wales, Victoria, and ACT announced non-essential businesses will shut down. Businesses that will remain open include supermarkets, banks, petrol stations, pharmacies, convenience stores, freight and logistics, food delivery. And I've heard the rumor that bottle shops are included in the category of supermarkets. So, who's going to stop me from leaving home? All the states do actually have laws that they can prosecute you with. It would be interesting to see when any of those, and some of those laws are really draconian, like thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars in fines and jail time. So it's going to be interesting to see if and when someone is actually prosecuted. Yes, Adele Hillsong apparently closed in the last couple of days. Fletcher, were drachmas named after him? No, I think drachmas is Middle Eastern, although my history is not that good. I'm English. You've been watching Kingdom on Netflix. I thought about watching that. I have seen it advertised. I haven't really been binging anything much. Fletcher, I think bottle shops are essential services. Who knows? Who knows how long they'll be open? Yes, was saying at the start, apparently, Dan Murphy's huge crowds. So we'll see what comes. Yes, Hillsong won't like being closed because their big megachurch has thousands of people in it. That made them hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars a week in collections, and that all goes by. They'll be hassling people online. They'll be doing online services and hassling people to donate by credit card or something, and it will work. They will get a lot because it's a fucking big brainwashy cult. But they won't get as much as they got from the in-person collections. Probably nowhere near it. Dale, you're going to close down? Yeah, it's interesting because I'm working for a state government department, and as I said, I've been working from home since Wednesday last week, but we did that voluntarily. We just looked at it and said, is there any reason we shouldn't work from home? Is there anything, and we just went, no, it's probably going to happen soon anyway, so let's just work from home. Fletcher, I bet they said God expects them to tithe online. But the way Hillsong and other outfits like them work, there's a big guilt element to it. And when you're in the sermon, person next to you sticks $20 in the plate, then you're compelled to stick $20 in the plate. But if you're doing it from home, no one actually knows whether you do or not. So I reckon their tithings are going to go down a lot, but not disappear, because it's a weird fucking mind control cult. And they've got people scared. And, all these evangelical churches that screw people out of money are going to really up the wrath of God stuff now. So they're really going to do it. What is this? I'm just looking at this BlackBerry one. This is Tasmanian. Okay. This is a Tasmanian beverage. Oh, yes, they have a few recipes on here. The Bramble, which is a classic, which would be this gin, lemon juice, and sugar syrup. That would probably be really nice, actually. Or a Blackberry Mule with ginger beer. Gross. Ooh, this vermouth, lime, and tonic water. That sounds not bad. Sounds not bad at all. Adele, you're non-essential and can't work from home. Ooh, that's kind of sucky. Raiders, we're going yay for the Tassie distilleries. These people, under the name Marionette, have a few interesting ones. And I tossed a coin of which one to get. And I thought, ooh, blackberry. I see blackberry liqueur in cocktail recipes a lot. And I don't have any blackberry liqueur. So I thought, support Australian. Possibly the last time I'm going out to shop for a while. Made with Tasmanian blackberries. So that's me being patriotic. I now have Australian blackberry liqueur, Australian macadamia nut liqueur, and Australian vermouth. So I've got a few Australian things for my cocktails. I reckon next time I'm making a drink, I might make this Bramble. This blackberry stuffed gin, lemon juice, and sugar syrup. That actually sounds really good. Or the tonic. This vermouth, lime juice, and tonic also sounds good. Yay! Something new. Something new. Yeah. I was all keyed up. Like, I was ready to go with my cocktail channel, and I wanted to have lots of other people in the videos, and I had all these ideas of getting people in to do tastings, and that's all off now because of social distancing. So you are right, Adele. The local ones can be expensive because they're produced in far smaller volumes, so they can't compete on price with the big brands that produce thousands of times more volume. But it could be worth it. It was like the vermouth I got that was 4 times more expensive than like Cinzano from the bottle shop. And I thought, is it 4 times better than Cinzano? Yes, it is. Cinzano is terrible. Oh no, Kaiju, that's an interesting innovation. Get someone to make their own version tasting. No, I've already. It's going to be me doing the tasting. I'm going to get Mrs. Angry to help me. One of the things I was doing was trying to make some small variations of drinks and see if it was a really noticeable different taste. And I thought if I got someone else to taste it, I'd get their views. But I think I'll do blind testings. Like I'll mix the variations and then put some sort of blindfold on and get Mrs. Angry to shuffle them around and hand me one. And I have to try and work out which of the variations is like. One's going to be whiskey sour, which is one of my favorite cocktails. But whiskey sour made with cheap whiskey, and a whiskey sour made with expensive whiskey, and see if I can tell the difference, or if I think the expensive one is notably better than the cheap one. And I was talking about the different vermouths. I now have Cinzano, which is just really cheap and nasty vermouth, and a sweet vermouth and a dry vermouth by these Australian makers. And so it's going to make something, whether it's a martini, the simplest martini is just gin, vermouth, or vodka and vermouth. Probably make it with gin, vermouth. Make it with the different vermouths, and how different does it taste if it's made with Cinzano? How different is it if it's with this sweet vermouth, and how much with a dry vermouth? And I'm not a big martini drinker, but I think I'll probably do that. And I might do the same. A vermouth drink that I do prefer is the Manhattan. A martini is made with the clear spirit, either. No, I've got my camera carefully adjusted so you don't even get a reflection in the glass. I'm doing this from the kitchen, so periodically someone was like, "You're in the goddamn kitchen, I want to get something." And you used to see a quite noticeable reflection in the glass behind me, but with this new camera and when I worked out how to adjust its settings, you don't even really get a reflection in the glass behind me now. It's all plunged in dark. It used to be very evenly lit, but I worked out how to narrow the lighting. So that's my drink collection there, which is just shrouded in darkness now. Used to be here. None of this stuff's alcoholic. This is various. Actually, no, that's a bottle of wine, and I don't drink wine. That's why it's over there. That's the good stuff, and that's other stuff. Yes. So so I'll probably do the same thing with Manhattans, because Manhattans is whiskey and vermouth. So cocktail is a clear spirit and vermouth. A martini is a clear spirit and vermouth. Some people swear by gin. Some people only like vodka. And the Manhattan, which is more to my liking, is whiskey, often bourbon, and vermouth. So, and because I'm not that big a aficionado of the different sorts of whiskeys and other beverages, although I've got a bourbon, I've got a Scotch whiskey, I've got an Irish whiskey, and I've got a rye whiskey, because those are quite different. But of course, you get massive differences between different Scotches, different Irish whiskies, different. But I'm not that obsessed that I want multiple sorts of Scotch and multiple sorts of Irish whiskey, multiple sorts of bourbon, etc. And the same for gin, for that matter. There are all these different versions of gin, and various other things. But I do have a few different vermouths now. That's a relatively recent thing for me. But I'm not as obsessive as some. Also, Adele, on the topic of food, crazy shopping, you got corned beef the other day. Keen to have corned beef toasted sangers. Oh, Fletcher, you're saying vermouth. Yes, vermouth is an Italian drink. It's fortified wine. The Italians like their fortified wine. Like saying, I've got 3 Australian beverages here. I have a lot of Italian ones. The bitter ones that the Italians like. I've got what do I got? I've got Amaro. I've got Fernet Branca, Punta Mez. I recently got a bit of a specialist one that's a cherry-based bitter aperitif. It's like my substitute from Campari because I don't like Campari. And Aperol. So I've got like 6. Was that 5 or 6? 5 or 6 different Italian aperitifs or digestives. I don't remember. I think some of them are aperitifs and some are digestives. One you meant to have before you eat and one you meant to have after you eat. But differently. Rain, you've got a ton of cognacs from your various birthday parties. Nice. You're a tequila drinking Moscow. I've got, actually, I don't have a cognac at the moment. I've got an Armagnac, which is the same thing, but from a different part of France. Rain, cognac. One of my favorite cocktails is the Sidecar, and that's cognac or brandy. I also make it with brandy. I've got a brandy there. But a Sidecar is cognac and orange liqueur and lemon juice. It's that simple. It's a 3-ingredient one: cognac or brandy, which I use, orange liqueur. Yeah, so that's triple sec, or I've got Cointreau and lemon juice, and it's so nice. It's such a nice balance in the Sidecar. So that's the first thing I'd go to with cognac is, yeah, see, Adele, that's what I'm going to do when I post stuff for my cocktail channel, give a rating. I have my own rating system when Mrs. Angry and I go out. Well, not that you can do that anymore. We used to go out sort of every second week, often to cocktail bars. We would rate the drinks so we'd remember if we went back there again. My ratings out of 10 is like 6 out of 10 is like, why did I pay money for that? Less than 6 out of 10 is very bad. 7 out of 10 was, that's pretty good. 8 out of 10 was, that's good. I'd definitely order that again. 9 out of 10 is, that's so good, I want another one now. And I'd never give something 10 out of 10 because there's always room to improve. But yeah, when I really, really like stuff, I might say 9.5 out of 10. But yeah, and I really want to get methodical because, you know, and these live streams and stuff over the last year, I've made fuck knows how many, you know, hundreds of cocktails. And some of them have been really good, and I don't really remember them. I've improvised based off another recipe I've found and gone, that's good. And I don't really remember them. This is why when I set up a purpose-made cocktail channel where they'll all be there and I'll rate them and I'll remember. I'll go back and I'll remember. And I remember that's a thing. That's the one I liked, and I liked it for this reason. But I'm not there yet. So maybe just recently, like I made one, I think on just last week on the live stream, and I don't even remember what was in it. It was like Aperol. I remember the Aperol was in it and something else. And I decided it was really good. And I don't even remember what that was. And I'm like, okay, cool. What do I do? So I'm going to do that. Fletcher, when you went to school, no one got 10 out of 10. Well, there's always room to improvement. That's the big thing. You can always improve. So I tend not to rate a drink 10 out of 10. But yes, my rating is 7 out of 10 is good. 8 out of 10 is like very good. I definitely order this again. 9 out of 10 is, this is so good, I want another one now. And yeah, if I really, really like something, I might rate it more than 9 out of 10, like 9, you know, 9.1 to 9.5. Dale, you're doing a sourdough starter. Young Ms. Angry has been putting together a sourdough starter over the last couple of days. I think it's almost ready. I think she's actually going to do her first sourdough tomorrow. She got it. It's really funny. She got into bread baking sort of as a hobby a week or two before everything went crazy, and now flour and yeast got hard to find. Although you can see there, we've got a fair bit of flour there. We've got a fair bit of flour. So yeah, young Ms. Angry was making bread, and because of the difficulty in getting yeast, she's got a whole thing going, and she's got a sourdough starter, and we are going to get our first loaf or loaves of sourdough tomorrow, which I'm quite looking forward to, because she really started to really nail the bread. Really nice consistency, really nice crispy crust. So I'm looking forward to how she goes with sourdough. That's pretty cool. So, hey, I'm going to leave you folks now. I know I often go to 10, but if I'm going to be doing this a lot, which is my plan, I don't really want to run myself into the ground and do 2 hours every night. Thanks for dropping by tonight. This is clearly a thing we all want to do, so I am going to do more of it. Expect to see me tomorrow night. I don't know, sometime around this time. We'll see how that goes. So look after yourself, one and all. We do need to take a bit of extra care of ourselves, a bit of extra care of each other in these troubled times. So take care of yourself, one and all. If you find the opportunity to be nice to someone else as well, do that. But definitely look after yourself. Be nice to yourselves. These are weird, confusing, trying times we were in. We've got to get through them somehow. Let's get through it together. Ran, you'll be working tomorrow. I might even, look, to accommodate different time zones, I might even do some stuff in the middle of the day, my time sometimes. We'll see. But look after yourself, one and all. You're all wonderful people. Hope to see you again soon. But I will say bye.